All right, you guys. So I'm I'm not I'm kind of shocked about this news, but then again, I'm not. Um, but I'm kind of glad because it might be part of the answer to the stream I had on the 15th or the night before, I should say. And three people sent me this article last night, and I didn't have time to watch it. So I will be playing a part of a video. Okay, you guys. Um, Jared Kushner makes shock announcement that Israel has agreed to the creation of a Palestinian state by process of division of the land. Okay. Um, so this is what I had on August 15th. The top part is kind of personal, so I scratched it out. What I saw four balls in an arch close together, high up, and they represent Israel, Turkey, and Israel, Turkey, the U.S. slash UE. It was kind of like when I say U.S. slash UE, it was kind of like I was seeing them, the U.S. and UE, like together, like it wasn't either or it was kind of like it was a combined or something. Like I couldn't visually, I could see the names, but I couldn't. It was weird. Okay, so I couldn't differentiate whether or not I couldn't differentiate in my mind the U.S. from the UAE. But then again, I didn't even see the AE. I just saw the UE. I can't explain it. But I saw four countries. Um, there was a ball shape. There were balls like this, like those that ball right there that they have their hand on. It was like that on the bottom, and it was nighttime. It was four of them. Okay, and the four balls formed an arch, and so it was Israel, Turkey. I don't believe Turkey's in this deal either. That's why my mind is like, what's going on? The U.S. slash UE and another country. These four nations were sitting up high on a frame of stilts like a beach house. Like it was up high, like of the air, like principality of the air. I don't know, but it was like up high in the air, and it was dark, and I could see these four white balls. So they were relatively high, okay, relatively high, as if they were sitting on top, like a house would sit on top of, like a beach house would sit on top of these tall wooden stilts, okay. Um, and these four balls formed the arch, and it was dark, and one of the balls, I picked the UE slash UE, but I meant to put the UE slash US combo. Like one of these balls opened up and rolled down like a slide, kind of, from this upper level, and a person came out. And the view of the person came out of the ball showing what really was going on, or like was what really was in that ball. Just imagine four balls in an arch form, and one of them like rolls down and cracks open. And I see a female, and I'm not sure if this. I'm thinking this female may represent Israel, you know, um, or the United States. Um, but there was a female that came out of the ball, And when she came, the ball rolled down from the four in the arch, and it like opened up and like divulged, or like it opened up and showed what really was in it, or the real story. And whatever it was, the news and the mainstream media was lying about it, like it wasn't the truth. So I'm thinking with this new announcement that perhaps it was something concealed with Jared Kushner coming out revealing this. Um, this new announcement about the Palestinian state, that it might have something to do with it. This dream bugged me because the initial Abraham Accord announcement had already been made, and then we see Turkey. Well, I have Turkey in my dream, but it's like, what? But then again, the United, what you call it? The United Arabic Emirates, whatever you call it. But Turkey and Iran, aren't they like the enemy? The enemy of Israel? I'm telling you, man, this thing like puzzled me, and I still have to figure out what it is. But the part about the news was lying about something about the original Abraham Accord announcement. I knew the stream had to do with that, and that was August 15th. The announcement had already been made. I'm not sure what date though. It's still gonna bug me. If you guys have any help, help me. I'm play this.
Explain why we're doing and calling it the Abraham Accord. David?
Well, thank you, Mr. President, and congratulations to you on brokering this historic peace agreement. Abraham, as many of you know, was the father of all three great faiths. He's referred to as Abraham in the Christian faith, Ibrahim in the Muslim faith, and Abraham in the Jewish faith. And no person better symbolizes the potential for unity among all these three great faiths than Abraham, and that's why this accord has been given that name.
And he shall confirm the covenant with many. Daniel 9:27. Everyone, Johnny Storm, don't speak. Well, we got prophecy moving again. Prophecy news today. Unreal. Joel 3, Jared Kushner makes shock announcement that Israel has agreed to the creation of a Palestinian state by process of division of the land. And he's saying that this is a way to welcome the Palestinians back to the negotiating table. And this is one of the reasons that the UAE has signed the agreement with Israel that they did last week, which is also historic, unprecedented. Friedman, the ambassador to Israel from the U.S., congratulated President Trump last week on that deal, for helping broker that deal. And then, of course, they talked about why did they use the term Abraham Accords? And Friedman went on to explain that is because Abraham is represented in all three faiths and therefore is a uniter in all three faiths, meaning Judaism, Christianity, and Islam. But they all revere Abraham, and so therefore he would be the one to unite the faiths. That's why they use that name. So this goes right in line, like it says here, with this universal church, this Chrislam they're talking about. The Pope and the Imams meeting together as they have been for the last several years in particular. We've talked about that on this channel before. How they're setting up this universal religion for the New World Order. Well, we all have the same God because, we all have Abraham and blah, blah, blah. And in fact, Neil and Jones talked about that here last week. Peace and prosperity, and then sudden destruction, war against the saints. Well, why am I bringing all this up again today? Well, because of this. And here it is from IsraelNationalNews.com. Jared Kushner, first time Israel has agreed to a map of a Palestinian state. President's son-in-law says Palestinian Authority has a chance to return to the negotiating table. U.S. trusts Israel not to unilaterally apply annexation. And why should they? They're occupying the territory anyway. By the way, they're also talking to Oman. So, covenant with many indeed. Addressing Israeli reporters, Kushner said Israel has made a very generous proposal for the establishment of a Palestinian state, including an exchange of territories. The understanding is that this is the situation that has enabled the breakthrough that led to the current agreement. The president laid out his vision for peace in January of this year, and this is the first map ever agreed to by one of the parties publicly put out in a peace negotiation. We got Israel agreeing to negotiate on the basis of division, on the process of division. They agreed to the map and agreed to move forward on a Palestinian state. This was a major breakthrough that changed the view of a lot of people in the region about Israel's seriousness to actually make concessions to resolve this long-standing conflict, Kushner said. Adding, the countries in the region also questioned why the Palestinian Authority boycotted the economic conference in Bahrain. This is a generous offer of a state-state and an exchange of territories, and we offer the Palestinians a return to the table, he said. Wow. And you can go read the rest on your own if you prefer, but I mean, there's not much left. But they say they trust Israel, they built a very trusting relationship, and that they trust them not to go ahead and annex any territories. And Netanyahu said pretty much himself that they're acquiescing to the U.S. on this, on that particular issue. And it's also made Netanyahu a little more popular in the mainstream in Israel. I'm sure the far right's not happy with him, but I'm not going to get into all that tonight. But like it says here, Kushner said there's really no urgency for Israeli sovereignty in the West Bank anyway, because they're already there. They've already been pretty much running themselves anyway. So what's the difference if they just make it, why make it official if it's going to destroy the peace process? Just keep it the way it is for now, indefinitely. Well, we'll see. Brother James also talked about this in regards to this Chrislam thing and the accord with the UAE, these Abraham Accords. Brother James also talked about it last week. I'll put the links to this and Leland's video on it in the comments. But two different views on it here. In two different ways it fits in prophecy. So, there you go. Historic times, folks. We're living Bible prophecy right now. And I know there's other channels out there that are saying differently. Bigger channels than mine, but they're wrong. That's all I got to say. And they're either saying what they're saying out of ignorance or they're doing it intentionally. And I pray that that's not the case. But yes, I'm quite aware of what they're saying. But ladies and gentlemen, it's right here in front of you. This is historic, and a major breakthrough, just as Jared said.
All right, you guys, I'm going to stop this right here. I can't hear it playing back, but I'm glad he kind of went over it. I'm still going to study it. It's not too much to study. The Palestine, as far as my dream, I have to look into all the countries and so on and so forth. I just was like mind boggled when I had this dream. And the four balls kind of look like that globe, you guys. It kind of look like that globe, okay? Down here at the bottom. As if it's some kind of fortune-telling ball kind of thing. You know what I mean? And it was illuminated in the nighttime. And it was up high in the air. Anyway, y'all excuse that word up there. I didn't even realize that was in there. I'll leave the video below, and I'll leave the original article below. Again, I fell asleep reading it, and I want to read it for myself. All right, you guys, I'll come back and talk to you later. Hopefully, I can make videos today. I have like 4 dreams I haven't put out yet. All right. And news I wanted to talk about. All right, you guys.